we don't need roads.
Mr. Cage, it is an unbelievable honor to be able to see you again, sir. How are you?
Very well. How are you doing?
I'm doing so well. It's so great to be able to talk to you. I love you so much, and I love this film, so I'm going to jump into this.
Thank you very much.
I want to start out with a legitimate question because I am such a big fan of yours, and I would love to just hang out sometime. How much would it actually cost me to get you to come to my birthday party?
Oh, see, you wouldn't have to pay me. I think once you put a price tag on it, then it's no longer cool. So there's no price.
Fair enough. Well, I'll tell you what, January of next year, you're coming to Chicago. You and I are hanging out.
All right.
You know, I read that there was a scene deleted from this film that was kind of a long black and white fight scene in which you reprised your roles from Face Off, Con Air, Leaving Las Vegas, Gone in 60 Seconds. And I was wondering if you could tell me about that scene and maybe which role was most fun to slip back into.
Yeah, you know, that's a great question because we did a series of vignettes in the lens of, call it Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. I was in the black and white makeup, and the sets were all like cardboard surrealistic sets, and it was shot in black and white. And the idea was that I was reprising Face Off, Gone in 60 Seconds, Leaving Las Vegas in that world of Caligari. And I think of all the three, the face-off scenes were the most interesting. But I do hope you get to see those vignettes in like a Blu-ray edition or something because they're quite magical. It just didn't make it into the final movie. They kind of gave me a bit of an ultimatum, which was you either have the Nicky character, which was largely the reason I made the movie, or the Caligari vignettes, and they only had time for one, and I selected the Nicky character.
I would love to see that. I'm a big fan of physical media, so I absolutely will be getting this film on Blu-ray. I was wondering,
Good.
Sir, if you could take me back 25 years ago, June of 1997. In that 1 month, you had both Con Air and Face Off hit theaters. So I'm curious, 25 years later, looking back, what was that month like for you as a person and as an actor?
That's a pretty good question because it's a bit of a blur for me right now, but I remember kind of not really comprehending what was happening to me. It was like the Cineplex, the multiplex cinema experience. I had two movies that were at #1 all at the same time, and I was kind of like scratching my head. I wasn't thinking about it in those terms, but it was both awesome and confounding at the same time. I'm happy it happened, and certainly nothing like that will ever happen again. But I'm glad you remember it. It was an extraordinary experience.
I remember my dad and I going to see it. It was just an incredible experience. He and I going. That was a great month. When you won your Oscar, you said in your speech, "I hope that there will be more encouragement for alternative movies where we can experiment and fast forward into the future of acting." I'm curious, what do you think that young man on that Oscar stage would say about this movie? Because I feel like this is exactly what you were talking about on that stage.
I would agree with you. I think that's a great observation as well. I do think that what happened with both Pig and Massive Talent in terms of film comment response is exactly what I was hoping, that the film enthusiasts would see that I'm still bringing the indie spirit not only to a movie as beautiful as Pig, but also the indie spirit to a movie which is hopefully reaching a wider group of film enthusiasts in Massive Talent, and that I stayed on my path and my hopes for cinema.
I'm going to cut you loose on this. You gave me one of the greatest moments of my life a few years back. We were at a restaurant in Toronto, and because you and I have spoken so much, I think we locked eyes, and you kind of said in front of a group of people, "I know you. Where do I know you from?" And everyone around me was like, "What is happening?" It was one of the greatest moments of my life, and you have no idea. Like the fact that my hero did that for me was huge. What was a moment like that for you, where a hero of yours gave you a moment and made you feel special and gave you a story to tell at dinner parties?
I went on the Dick Cavett show, and Miles Davis was also on the show that evening, and I went off on one of my diatribes about film performance and surrealism, and I started talking about what you can do in one art form, you can do in another, and like if Picasso, and why not try something like that. And Miles, who was also a painter, as you know, he really was sort of eyeballing me about that, and I could see him nodding his head, and I could tell he dug it. And then backstage, he looked at me, and I was dressed like I am now in my suit, and Miles always wore these cool clothes, and he was like, Nick, I like what you said, but where's your leather jacket? And I said, my what? Why are you wearing the suit, man? Where's your leather jacket? Didn't you learn anything from Dennis? I went, Dennis? Dennis, Hopper, man, Dennis Hopper, where's your leather jacket? It was like, for me, to have an artist of that magnitude care about what I'm wearing was like, it really warmed my heart. I love Miles Davis, and there's a nice shout out to him in the movie.
That is an amazing story. Mr. Cage, I just want to thank you, not just for your time today, but just a lifetime of incredible, thoughtful, meaningful work. I've been a fan of yours my entire life, so to be able to genuinely tell you how much your work means to me, it's a great, and your performances like Pig, it just continues to mean to me. So seriously, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you. I hope to see you again soon. And you're coming to my birthday party.
I will. If I'm in Chicago, that would be awesome.
Fantastic. Good to see you, sir.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.